The room was silent except for the faint hum of the old refrigerator. I stared at my reflection in the window, a distorted ghost of myself, as the rain streaked down outside like crooked fingers. It had been 2 weeks since I moved into this house, a house that no one wanted, sold for a price so low it felt like stealing. At first, I thought it was my luck finally turning around. Now, I wasn't so sure. It started small, as these things often do. A misplaced book, a drawer open that I was sure I'd closed, the scent of burnt wood in the air despite there being no fireplace. I told myself it was my imagination, adjusting to a new place. Moving out of the city had been a big change, after all. But tonight, I couldn't explain what I had seen. An hour ago, I had been in the kitchen, unpacking boxes and trying to drown out the silence with the faint murmur of a podcast. I'd reached for a mug, one of my favorites, wrapped in paper at the bottom of the box. When I unwrapped it, I froze. It wasn't the mug I had packed. The design was different. It was chipped, old, stained inside as though coffee had been left to sit for weeks. I would have sworn on my life that I had never seen it before. I tossed it aside and kept unpacking. Then, when I turned back to the counter, the mug was there again. The exact same mug, but this time, it was wet, steaming as though someone had just poured fresh coffee into it. But I was alone. Now, standing by the window, I was trying to convince myself it didn't happen. I didn't drink the coffee. I didn't touch it. But the scent lingered in the air, bitter and inviting, making my stomach churn. The lights flickered, and the hum of the refrigerator sputtered into silence. I glanced at the clock on the wall. Midnight. A knock came from the front door. I froze. It wasn't the kind of knock you'd expect at midnight. Not hurried, not frantic. Just a single, solid knock. Slow and deliberate. My first thought was that maybe it was a neighbor. But who would knock so late? And why hadn't I heard footsteps? I walked to the door cautiously, my bare feet sinking into the threadbare carpet. Peering through the peephole, I saw nothing. No one. Just the rain falling in heavy sheets, the dim porch light casting strange shadows across the yard. I opened the door anyway. The cold air hit me immediately, and the rain soaked the doorstep. But there was no one there. Only a small package sitting neatly on the welcome mat. A box wrapped in brown paper and tied with string. I picked it up without thinking, surprised by how heavy it was. Inside, the house felt colder than before. I set the box on the dining table and stared at it for a moment, debating whether to open it. There was no address, no note, no indication of where it had come from. Curiosity won. I untied the string, pulled back the paper, and opened the lid. Inside was a photograph, old and faded. A black and white image of a family standing in front of a house. This house. The man in the picture looked stern, his eyes hollow even in the stillness of the photo. The woman beside him had a vacant smile, and the two children, a boy and a girl, stared straight at the camera with expressions too serious for their age. And then, the boy blinked. I shoved the box away, the photo sliding out and landing face down on the table. My breath came in shallow gasps, and I felt a wave of nausea rise in my chest. I told myself I hadn't seen what I thought I'd seen. Maybe it was a trick of the light. The door slammed shut behind me. I spun around, my heart pounding now, but the room was empty. Just the sound of rain, heavier now, pounding against the windows. When I turned back to the table, the photo was upright again. Only this time, the boy wasn't in it. Neither was the girl. I stared at the picture, my mind racing. And then I heard it, faint laughter, echoing from somewhere in the house. The sound wasn't joyful. It was sharp, like broken glass, cutting through the air. It didn't come from upstairs, or the basement, or any direction I could pinpoint. It was just there, surrounding me. And then I noticed the mug on the counter again, steam rising from it. Only now, the liquid inside wasn't coffee. It was darker, thicker, swirling as though alive. I didn't wait to see what would happen next. I ran.